Blindness. What immediately comes to your mind? Maybe you picture someone who looks like this. However, as with most things, blindness falls on a scale. The general public only often know of those who are completely blind, those who can't see anything. However, there are also people who are completely blind and can still see light or shadow. And then there are people like me, people who are legally blind. If this eye chart was a standard size, you were standing 20 feet away, and you could read row 8. Congratulations, you have perfect 20/20 vision. If you were standing 8 feet away and could only read row 1, you are legally blind. This means that the eye chart, that the E looks the same to you standing 20 feet away as it does to someone with perfect vision, standing 200 feet away. My vision tends to fluctuate between 2300 and 2600, and I tend not to tell people that I'm legally blind because disabilities in the United States are heavily stigmatized, and they're seen as a reason to pity someone. But this well-intentioned sympathy often leads to distance rather than an acceptance or understanding of the millions of people like me. This needs to change. So today, I wish to tell my story. When I was younger, I would never speak unless I was obligated to, ever. I moved from a private Montessori school with 9 people in my grade to a public school halfway across the country in the middle of 3rd grade. Needless to say, I used my disability to hide behind, and teachers tended to enable this poor behavior by skipping me during cold calling or pairing me with others to do work. When people helped me, it often took the form of acts of charity towards someone that they pitied. Others felt the need to make insensitive comments on those that they didn't understand. My self-esteem would always be knocked down a notch when someone would say, "You think you're sitting close enough to the TV there?" Or when I asked my superior to find my name on the sign-in sheet, and they looked me up and down and said, with sympathy in their voice, "Is English your second language?" Needless to say, in 9th grade, I was at the same school, and still the shy girl I was in 3rd, scared to enter a room. I couldn't see who was in it, petrified to raise my hand, concerned of the unseen reactions my classmates may have. This started to change when my mom signed me up for a Sunday school program in Washington, D.C. Neither of us really knew what the program was about, but hey, I got to miss 2 days of school. What could go wrong? Turns out my worst nightmare came true. I found my class lobbying in front of our congressman. I was petrified. But after my speech, I felt relieved and elated. I had just lobbied with an actual senator. I was on cloud 9 when I returned home to New Orleans, but I was also nervous. Nervous because the craziest idea had popped into my head. What if I took a semester abroad in Israel? When I proposed this idea to my mom over text, she responded, "Who are you, and what have you done with my daughter?" Once I get an idea in my head, I'm not going to back down. Despite my mom saying I could do a 6-week summer program, family trip, or even a semester abroad in college, nothing worked. My mom is also the kind of mom who tries to make any dream a possibility. So over the next year, I spent countless hours raising and collecting money from generous individuals and organizations to pay for my semester abroad. So after a very long year, I arrived in Israel, one teenager in a group of 76. I was blind. What was I thinking? I called my mom and said, "Why did you let me come here? I can't believe you let your 16-year-old legally blind daughter travel halfway across the world on her own. My mom told me to give it a couple weeks, and as you know, mothers are always right. So after 2 weeks, I had established a solid group of friends that I still talk to, had made great relationships with my teachers, and was sleep-deprived and drowning in homework. The intimate class sizes made every lesson feel like a cozy study session with some of my best friends and favorite teachers. I started to talk without raising my hand. When my mom came to visit with my aunt halfway through the semester, I threw another curveball at her. I had grown too much. I couldn't bear going back to my previous school, where my life would revert back to tearfully, frustratedly, arguing with staff every single day for my rightful accommodations, without success. So, I decided to come here, to Dayton, Ohio, and live with my aunt and uncle, both of whom welcomed me with open arms and hearts. I also have an amazing group of aunties who have all welcomed me into their families. I now attend a school where my creativity and expression have been cultivated and are able to grow. I can now typically walk into a room and ask if someone's there without caring how I look to everybody else. I can typically raise my hand without worrying that I'm talking to somebody I can't see. I can now stand in front of you today and tell you with full confidence that I aspire to become an architect. Some of you may be thinking, this girl is crazy. The world is not made for a blind architect. How could she possibly do it? Trust me, you wouldn't be the first. But that's exactly the point. This world is only made for those who can see it. It is so predominantly visual that people forget they can appreciate it with their other senses. Remember walking into the theater, up the steps to the double metal doors, to be met with more steps. The lobby is beautiful, but how do you know? Did you think that the mixture of sounds that reverberated off the walls blended well together? Did you like the texture on the floor, and did it tell you where to go? Remember walking down the aisle and finding a seat, looking at all of the chairs with the numbers on them. It would be so simple to place a Braille number on each as well. To make the cacophony of sounds in the lobby into a beautiful melody of talk and laughter, or to delineate a path to the door by changing the texture on the floor. I wish to create homes for people who are visually impaired. A home is supposed to be a place where one feels safe. How can one feel safe if there's a floating staircase that they wandered into? Maybe a dishwasher door that causes shin injuries, or even a doorstop that someone has tripped over. Homes can be fully functional and beautiful to those without sight, while still maintaining their visual integrity. I hope to show the world through architecture that vision isn't everything. So, when you leave here tonight, I encourage you to listen to the sound that your shoes make on the floor. Notice the change in the air as you step outside, and feel inspired to see the world in as many ways as possible. Rosie.